are live.
What's happening? Where am I? Who is this people? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know anything.
Chris is back just in time for the 200th episode.
I made it a point to show up for this one.
Oh, good. Also, here we got a test run.
You didn't
here.
work right.
Yeah, we got a test run. Try one of these. Hey! Oh, it didn't do anything.
There's nothing inside. It's just gunpowder.
Oh, it is? Oh, these are just the noisy ones? Yeah, well, I think they are. Oh, yeah. It's just the noisy ones.
That's the smoke.
It's smoke, yeah. It's smoke. Oh, yeah. These aren't the confetti ones. They're just the noise ones. Well, we get some noise. Oh,
maybe if you point.
They smell terrible.
You know what? I actually kind of like that smell.
They're just sound versions.
Yeah, those are just the sound.
Ah, nice.
Well, right here. Sounds only.
Oh, sounds only.
In English, so you got nothing confused. Okay, to be fair.
Yes.
The sticker holding the pull string is over it. So it says sounds why? Sounds only.
As it sounds included? Yeah. All right. Well, happy 200. So that means, 4 years of this almost?
Oh, my God.
Jeez. Yeah, so this all started out as just an attempt to save the Idle Red Hands podcast.
Yes, it was.
Because it got kicked off of all the, it got kicked out of all the podcasts.
When you don't actually have like a social media manager or someone to do all that back end stuff, you fall out of relevance pretty quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the software that Idle Red Hands was using to put out the podcast, it just died. They just stopped supporting it, and it just got kicked off of everything. So I had to, we didn't update regularly enough. It wasn't weekly anymore, and so I had to do something so that it started aggregating, so there were new episodes. So yeah, that's the birth of the weekly happened, and then
any and all complaints should go to Jeremy.
Yes, right. And then the pandemic happened, and then it all became remote for a while. Yeah. So it was audio. Okay. The beginning of this was audio, and then we turned it into a live stream just to stop editing.
Yes. I don't do the video editing. All I do is show up, spew shit into the microphone, and then it's all Jeremy after.
And we put it out there live for you.
Yeah, we put it out there live, right? But yeah, as someone who edited the old audio one, that is a full-time job.
Right.
You already have a full-time job.
Yeah.
No,
and I mean and most people don't do that. Most people don't edit it to the extent that you guys did originally, taking out all the ums and breaths and everything. So it's a nice clean edit, and that means the production time is so if you don't like you're saying, if you don't have a social media presence, you aren't promoting it, it's a lot of work for no viewers.
That's what it felt like, right?
Yes.
Like the hours I put in front of the computer, I was like, and how many people listen to this? One?
Right.
Me? Right. Yeah, so anyway.
Yeah, and the content was good, but it's just there was no audience. Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting discussion.
If a tree falls in the woods and no one hears it.
That's right. If a brilliant podcast is recorded.
And no one listens, was it brilliant? Yep.
Yes. Yeah, so that's a shame. But yeah, that's how this all came about, is just, we got to get this thing back out there, and then Idle Red Hands didn't survive. I think it was a COVID-19 fatality, basically. Yeah, so it still exists. The website is still there, and all the old archives are still available. But it just became so that the transformation happened during that time.
Transformation, like xenomorph birth.
Yes, birth just out of. Ugh. Yes, the table flipped, and now we are here. Nice. So hey Matt, hey Miguel, how's it going? Welcome to the 200th episode.
Yeah, which is just going to be me complaining about shit.
Yeah, right.
No, I promise it won't be. It won't be.
Yeah, so we're trying to think what would be an appropriate thing to do. And it's like, well, if we take a look back, that's a lot of time, and it's like, is it that interesting? But I guess I want to say before the actual, and maybe I'll say this at the beginning of the actual podcast too. And I thank everyone at the beginning of this. There were so many. It was just like random rotating hosts. So, Lyle and Nick, and I don't think Chicago Chris was ever, but always kind of ready. I'm ready if you need it. But and I have to thank you for once we started doing this in person, for being able to, with how terrible your company is with scheduling and everything.
Almost didn't make it.
Just very reliably being here. We were able to do a lot, and these things, fall apart pretty easy. So thank you so much. Yeah.
I got to say thank you for running it week after week. It's often the highlight of my week. I'm like, gotta make it to Friday. And that half hour I get to, 45 minutes, I get to talk gaming stuff with Jeremy. Yeah, can I make it? All right, it's Friday. Yes. Right? And then as soon as I walk out the door, all right, I gotta wait for next Friday. Right?
Yeah, right. And one more week. Yes.
One more week. Yeah.
Nice. But so it's been nice, and thanks for the support we've gotten, and we even have a weekling. That's right. That's what you missed. Yeah, we have our first weekling supporter. So I guess the strongest of all weaklings.
Yeah. The weakling alpha.
Yes, alpha. That's right, alpha weakling. Yes. So thanks so much for all the support. Yeah, it's been really great to yeah, to have that support, and especially patrons like Matt have been like feeding me news stories and stuff. Yeah, so that really helps. Anything that's interesting, then makes its way to the show, and also Matt helping us with the animation, all the CG animation stuff. Yeah, like finding us a great animator to do stuff like that. So yeah, that's shaped things, I think, considerably. So thanks so much for that.
Shaping things. Have you ever read the Twits?
No.
Oh, okay. Anyway. I brought it up because in that story, it's two horrible people who hate each other, and the guy slowly adds like very thin discs of wood to the bottom of the woman's chair, and then after a long time convinces her she has the horrible shrinking sickness, right? I swear that's what you've been doing to your chair, because like there is not this much of a height difference like when we stand up. Like this chair is tiny, and I'm seeing myself on screen.
Right.
It's like
it's all width difference basically. It's an optical illusion.
It's optical illusions, like for The Hobbit, right? How people were standing on boxes.
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah, it's forced perspective. So
that's what
don't believe it.
Yep. Really, I'm a giant in real life.
Right. Nice. Oh, Matt prefers Philly, Chris. So yeah, you get the vote over Chicago. Yeah. I think Philly wins any day over that mess. All right.
There we go.
So you've been painting some very tiny little guys. Yeah, you did
painting
your
is more like just like.
Oh yeah, just just moving paint in the general direction.
Really.
Yeah,
yeah, I have. Yeah. Yeah.
So how's that going? What's I have never painted 6mm. What's the experience of that?
Small.
Yes.
Small. Right? So okay, this started from painting the 10mm Aguatoria stuff, right? And I thought, okay, 6mm is both easier and harder, right? It's easier because I was saying, like, for me, it goes a lot faster, right? And so sometimes when you're painting the larger miniatures, you're like, can this step be done?
Right,
or
right.
I have so many more of these things to do, or it's not shaping up, right? And you kind of, but with 6, it's like swipe. You're like, oh, and I see it now, right? Because there's less to cover,
right,
so
right.
the steps kind of go faster when you have them all lined up. You're like, yeah, this unit is going pretty fast, but they're also much smaller, so it becomes more about. You can't rely on the actual detail of the model to convey detail. You got to think about the tone, or like the value and the color to represent this thing, right? Well, like there's the swipe of silver for the sword. There's like some red for the cloth. There's maybe like a dot of something light to represent flesh. So it's tricks that don't work, but you got to think about.
Yeah.
That you don't have to think about with 28mm.
Right, yeah, and to actually make some variation and contrast between the colors, so you're seeing something. Yeah, because I can imagine just like various shades of brown would just look horrible. Yeah,
that's why, like, okay, I'm not that super up on history, but I forget what I'm painting them as. They're all like late medieval stuff, and I had like medieval French, medieval English, whatever, and I'm like, these are going to be red, right? The surcoats and all the stuff is going to be red, because if they all went brown, it's just like I don't see anything.
Yeah,
there,
right.
So I think I'm going to go like a red group, a blue group, kind of like a yellow group, maybe like white, like that, just so there's some kind of variation. Yeah.
Right. Oh, and we talked a little bit in your absence about the return of Epic.
Which is 8mm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so they're bringing that back, but I don't think. It's strange. They're keeping it in Horus Heresy setting, so they're just duplicating. They don't have to do too many sculpts, and also it's like 3D printing is out there, and there's probably proxies for all of that. So it might be a hard sell if their prices are terrible on those things.
If they GW would expect.
Yeah, it's going to be a real hard sell if people are, especially at that smaller scale. Sculptor, the 3D printers can handle a lot of the very cheap one, like $100 3D printer can handle 6 and 8 mil.
I'm still looking at it, like the $500 deal for any Cubic like photon.
Oh yeah, and the
plus a free washing QR. I'm like,
yeah.
No place to put it. No,
right.
Close tab, right? But like when I first saw the Games Workshop was bringing back Epic, and I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I'm not gonna buy it because I'm not gonna buy anything from GW apart from paints. 8mm. I have to think you did that so that people would not be able to use 6mm
invalid.
easily. But then someone pointed out fairly that Aeronautica Imperialis and whatever Titan game they have is 8mm.
Oh, right.
So
so they're keeping it in the same scale.
Yeah, same scale.
Right.
And smart on their part. Okay, I don't really Horus Heresy, sure, whatever. But like you said, this one sculpt of Marines, paint them up any chapter you want, right? So instead of having to make like 23 different sculpts, there's your whatever. Just paint them however you want. Yeah. So it makes sense.
Oh, that's cool. And that was supposedly that was the origin of the Horse Heresy. Is when they did that, they just said, okay, let's just do both Space Marines, right? So okay, so there's evil Space Marines. So what happened? why are these Space Marines like that? Yeah, right. So they had to come up with some heresy.
Dad, no, what is it exactly? It's like, Dad doesn't love me enough, right? Basically the Horse Heresy.
Right. Yes. Oh, Miguel says painting Imperial Knights now.
Ooh,
nice. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I guess that does make sense. They're keeping everything, and that's funny. They're keeping everything in the same scale. All those like boxed games. Yeah, all the external boxed games. Interesting.
Mildly disappointing. Now, you know what? Not mildly disappointing because I'm not going to buy their stuff. But someone also said that like it's kind of a shame they're not doing Xenos, right? Well, okay. Well, they minimize their production cost by just focusing on this thing. Yeah. So.
And they've already bailed on the Aeronautica Imperialis for all. They are just clearing out everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as far as like Necron and the kind of the Xenomorph kind of or Xenos extra armies they did. So Eldar, maybe
Eldari?
Eldari. Oh, sorry, Eldari and Dark Eldari.
Yeah, Eldari, Dark Eldari. Yeah.
All of that stuff is just last chance to buy. So they're not even going to really support it anymore. It exists in the old rules, and I think maybe they did supplements. But yeah, they're not going heavy on this, and they're probably going to do that same thing when this. Whatever they're calling it, that their new version of Epic comes out.
I can't even tell you.
Yeah, they'll support it for a little bit and then just be like, yeah, this isn't really selling.
It's something
Imperialis.
Imperialis. And it was like Imperialis Aeronautica Imperialis something. Right? I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah.
If you want to go real small, I've been looking at 2 millimeters.
Oh, no. It's just like it's a braille, right?
It is. It's just like, that's literally all it is. It's little bumps, right? But I said this on social media, like, okay, the reason I'm liking painting 6 millimeter stuff more than 28, I think.
Oh, yeah?
I've only painted a little bit of it because it goes faster, it uses less paint, there's less storage, armies are cheaper, and I think I'm liking it better. I might revisit that later. Then I'm looking at 2 millimeter stuff, which is just literally like braille bumps or whatever. Right. But it's funny, you run into a problem there because the appeal of 2 millimeter is to have a massive horde or massive formation of whatever, which actually requires a bigger base.
Oh, right.
So like all of the tiny Lion rampant 6 millimeter stuff, I'm like, it's all going on 40 by 40 or 40 by 20 base, which is pretty small, right? And then I went, okay, I could build a 6 millimeter like Greek hoplite army on 40 millimeter bases, or just like the tiny 2 millimeter. But if they're on the same bases, I want to see how it works. But like you want like the big, like massive horde, which is on like 120 by 60, and I'm like, doesn't save space.
Right.
So it's kind of this weird, like, scale down until it doesn't. Right?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. And, the idea, a lot of the smaller scale, like 10 millimeter fantasy armies was, well, this is just like an abstract representation of 100 guys.
Yeah.
So when this goes off the board, you're actually losing that, many more soldiers than it appears to be. So yeah, but then when you're playing that smaller, you want the actual vista of
you want to look down at the board and have like a huge army, right? Yeah. I also I like smaller scales. I actually also like doing like the infantry. Like you could do like, here's my one giant mech, and like, why don't we just play from 28 millimeter?
Yeah, right.
Like, here's my 5 Titans. Like, okay, right. So I understand the appeal of going small, so you can have a couple big models, but if like your whole side is big. Let's just go right back to 28.
Right, yeah. The hobby experience is exactly the same. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Yes. And don't get me started on people who actually play with like the Titans. In the 28. Why?
Right.
You put it on the board and it like its feet is just like half the board. Right. Where are you going to move to? Right? Can your opponent miss shooting at this thing?
Yeah, and do you really need $1,000 worth of resin to?
No.
Yeah, that's. And I think they just did that as I don't know. I think there's something about Games Workshop, especially the Forge World stuff, where it's just like, let's see how far we can push this hobby, and what will people buy?
And hey, if people buy it, why not make it?
Yeah, right. And it's funny too, because that's like the first thing I think that they recast in China were those like huge $500 sets. It's just like, oh yeah, those are easy to knock off. The profit is great. You sell them for 10% of what you. What retail was, so that's of course that's so tempting for them to pirate that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Yeah, and that also, I guess, that larger scale 3D printing is a little bit more difficult too. Than
unless you've got like one of the big ones, and
right, and you're doing it. Yeah, depends on the material and everything. All right, so should we get started? Yes, let's do this.
Got my rants out.
All right. Oh, stop touching that.
Stop touching it. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it.
All right. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this is our 200th episode.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so almost.
Like you said, 4 years
yes.
of this nonsense.
4 years. Yes. So, and this all started as an attempt to save the previous podcast because, which didn't work. Yeah, I guess. I guess we're the cuckoo. Upturned table is the cuckoo.
Get out of that nest.
Yep. Yes, we ate the babies and destroyed the nest, and here we are. But
Baby eaters.
So thanks to everyone that made this possible. It's come a long way from just an audio-only podcast that got shorter and shorter and shorter to save me editing time to this live stream. Yeah. And then the really active chat and great patrons and members that are supporting everything. Yeah, K5 has been a member now for getting close to 2 years.
Wow, reminder, become a patron.
Yes. So thanks. Yeah, thanks so much for all the support. And Matt, always for
wielding that blue wrench.
Yes, that's right. Without that, it would be chaos.
It would.
And lots of profanity would be flying.
Oh, you mean in the chat, right?
Yes, that's okay. Right. Yeah, Matt's blue wrench. But yeah, I appreciate all the tips and links for different news articles because there's stuff that I missed during the week, and sometimes it's a lifesaver because it's when it's a real.
You're giving away trade secrets.
Yes, but it's like when it's a really slow week, it's just like, is there anything happening on tabletop aside from 5e? And
no, there isn't.
And Matt seems to find it.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. So thanks so much. So this week on the Weekly, so the FTC warns creators, and and then there was interviews with tabletop companies about how they're handling creators and how much free stuff they're throwing out. So this is all about kind of payola kind of stuff. Okay. Critical Role deletes a player.
Okay.
Horror on the Orient Express. And the Grand Festival ends, and I see. You're not wearing your.
Oh damn! Yeah, I'm not wearing my Gloomhaven stuff. Yeah,
the gown that you've been working on this whole time.
That's why I've missed the past couple weeks.
Yeah. Yes, that's where you've been. Yeah, just sewing away. All right, so let's start with the government talk. So the Federal Trade Commission warns board game creators and publishers about failure to disclose relationships and also free games. So they're getting very detailed, and they're probably cracking down. This isn't specifically tabletop because I think this is cosmetics and health supplements and everything that creators are kind of pushing on social media, and so reviewers and influencers are starting to pretty openly violate FTC rules prohibiting what they call unfair and deceptive acts to properly disclose things like free games or financial support or all the sorts of things that a publisher may do to make you say nice things about them.
Okay. So in a nutshell, it's reviewers and influencers are not disclosing the fact that they got something from the company.
Right. And even and it gets pretty elaborate. They go into a lot more things. So they have the U.S. Federal Trade Commission has just updated its 14-year-old guidance on what they're calling endorsements and testimonials in advertising. Mm-hmm. So this will they're trying to affect social media platforms, especially things like Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok.
Don't forget Threads and Blue Sky.
Yeah, right.
Pillow Fort. Yeah,
right. And so this new guidance is requesting that creators should clearly disclose when they receive free products or other perks from a company, even if they aren't specifically asked to mention those products. So if you're just, filming an unboxing or you're playing on a game and the table was sent to you for free by a company, you're showing it off, you're endorsing, you're saying this is a great table because we're using it.
Well, even if the company doesn't say to mention it.
Right, yeah. They're not mention that they sent it to you.
Right. In that example, let's say, we've got the Argatoria stuff from Spellcrow.
Yes,
right. Like they sent it to us for free, right? Which is amazing considering international shipping. Right?
Yes, right.
So if we were playing, we'd have to say these were sent to us, right?
Yeah, right.
If my question is if the table or let's say a playing mat, let's be more realistic. If a playing mat was sent to us, if we don't talk about the playing mat, but it was sent to us, we're still in violation because we're kind of still showing it
right.
off, even if we don't specifically say, "Look how fantastic this mat is."
And I think even if we're not talking about, if it's not part of the review or anything, and they're literally saying if there's things in photos you're posting on Instagram that were given to you for free, there needs to be some sort of declaration. Yeah, so the FTC wants everything spelled out.
Okay.
Let us know, because you are, because this weird influencer thing. There are people that are like, oh, I like these guys, I like their reviews. Oh, they use this. Well, I'll buy that.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And so they're trying to, and it's a real hard thing to kind of crack down on, but they're just trying. And I think it's going to be more the responsibility of the platforms to give the creators tools to say, because right now you can just say in the description, the description of the video or in the text of the post, what you're saying. So they're saying things like, even posting a picture of a board game on social media, the FTC that says that could convey, even without words, that you like or approve of the product, is the thing that they're trying to look out for. So basically, they want things to say, this is an ad for a brand, for whatever company it is, and so there needs, and right now there's not really great ways to do that
apart from typing it all out.
Yeah, right. And I think they're probably going to ask for things like, and I think YouTube already does this. They have like a sponsorship. There's paid promotion. That's that little paid promotion flag.
Paid promotion by.
So
I've mysteriously seen that not on ours.
Yes, right. Yeah, we need some of that. I would love to put that somewhere. Please,
sorry,
give us a reason to use that thing. But so they want that for all social media. So you're posting, you're trying to post an aesthetically pleasing picture on Instagram, and it's going to have a big watermark that says paid promotion at the top, or this is an ad for so and so. So right now they're saying single disclosure is not sufficient. A single reference on a web page is not sufficient. They want more, and it can't be buried under a read more link or whatever. So your multiple disclosures are preferable. So things like Snapchat and Instagram stories should feature disclosures superimposed over the image. So that's really going to change the aesthetic of the platform. And this isn't limited to free games. They say it also covers cash payments, other gifts, travel, accommodations, and costs. So that means, basically everybody that was talking about that creator summit, the Wizards did, that's paid promotional content. Like they need it, and that's what they were discussing. They did this, and some guys even went through, this is how much everything costs and how much money they threw at us, but other people didn't. They're just talking about the event itself. So that is paid content.
But wouldn't that mean, like in that example, wouldn't it mean that kind of any picture or any kind of post would have to say, I was paid to travel here or whatever?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like pictures. Yeah. If like somebody paid for your ticket to Gen Con or whatever. Yeah. Every photo of you at Gen Con has to have a big watermark across your face with dollar signs.
I'm wondering what's sparking this. Is it kind of maybe not altruistic, but is it because companies? I wonder if it's because companies feel that they can't compete with like normal advertising means. And so this is a way to like shut down the influencer thing? Or is this kind of a bit more altruistic? We're going, whoa, okay, let's rein in this free advertising kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I think what's probably just fighting that American aesthetic of if you're not cheating, you're not winning. So, companies are always looking for these, messed up angles that are great, that are, borderline illegal, and they know that they're violating certain practices.
Let me show you my new Games Workshop tattoo.
Oh yeah, right.
No, sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's a. I think they're just trying to rein that in, but it's a difficult thing, and I think you're right. They're probably it's an advantage for smaller companies and these creators to create promotion that bigger, like Hasbro has to pay for. Hasbro has to really shell out the bucks to get that same sort of reach to the communities. So yeah, and a few more quotes from a spokesman for the FTC. So the FTC Act and the principles underlying the endorsement guidelines apply to game companies and game influencers. So if followers of a game influencer don't expect them to get the game for free, and if knowing about the free game would affect the credibility of that the followers give to the endorsement, then the free game should be disclosed. This is starting to sound like IRS, like tax.
It is. Well, yeah, what do you expect? Yeah,
right. Ugh. So we have brought cases against companies whose influencers have not disclosed material connections. And I think, that's, and it may have started, it's probably coming to board games because it has started in other places, like all the, health supplements and cosmetics and stuff are just, it's shady stuff and shady practices, and it's kind of like a pump and dump thing where they get it out there on social media, they get really big influencers to promote stuff, and it's garbage, and the influencers don't care because they're paid, and then the company the company makes their money. Well, yeah, they get it for free, and it's paid endorsement. So they added regulators cannot be everywhere all at once, but expect more aggressive enforcement around these issues.
What you said earlier about social media platforms, like work brain. The way this is actually going to work is if social media platforms make it easy for people to do that, right? Like YouTube, however it works, has that paid promotion, may include paid promotion thing, right? Like I think it would be easier to implement if all the social media platforms had something like, okay, here's how you can put this in, right? Here's an easy, intuitive way for influencers to write all the stuff that are in there instead of having to type it all out in the Instagram notes. Because, the easier it is for people to do something, the more they're going to be inclined to do it. Right.
But the thing they have to be careful of, though, is if the algorithm doesn't like that kind of stuff, so if
fuck that up.
But if it kind of scores against you for that, then people aren't going to do it. That may be the cause of why people aren't disclosing things and aren't using that promotional tag, because most of the social media stuff is trial and error. So they put stuff out there with all disclosures like, this stuff isn't doing very well. Let's take that off and actually get people to see our posts.
Right. Or as someone, pardon me, as someone who blocks every and all paid promotion thing that pops up across my social media feed, gone. Oh, promoted, gone, right?
Right.
I don't care. Get that ad off my stuff, right?
Right.
And I'm not getting, I don't even know what kind of ads I'm getting now because I've blocked so many things, right? Like,
What we've got to sell you something. What
is this? I don't even know. I'll come back later with some interesting ones, but whatever. Yeah.
So there are a few statements from some different publishers and people involved in board games. So Jamie Stegmaier from Stonemaier Games says they have a list of more than 300 board game reviewers that they just send stuff to, and he said that they noticed creators on Instagram tagging their content pay promotion from the publisher for games that they were sent, but I'd like to see Instagram offer more accurate tags and labels. Right. Yeah, they should standardize the hashtags and things that make it possible to to find those things. So you can just adding a paragraph about this would help. Sarah Shaw of Board Games in a Minute YouTube channel, and also an attorney. There are too many creator attorneys.
Well, come on, man. Like, following the rules of like board games, you got to be litigious to follow some of these games.
Right.
Like, only an attorney could figure out how to play this game, right?
Yeah, or afford that many board games, right?
Yeah, or that too, yeah.
So she says, I know I've failed to disclose on Instagram and Facebook posts that I've received a review copy of games when posting about it. I'm going to start doing it more, being more diligent. And then already I've been disclosing in video content. And I think it's much easier in video content because you're creating it and you have more control over it. So hoping more content creators are mindful of these laws and follow them more carefully. Yeah, because we'll probably start seeing fines and stuff, and people will start their channel will start being hurt because they're going to get they'll get sued by the government.
I'm starting to be very glad I've never been sent anything for free.
Yes, right.
Oh, no, I paid for all this stuff with my own money.
Right. Yeah, but I think it does, like, that investment, and even if it's an inexpensive thing, that investment does make you say, God, why couldn't they put this in a better box? Or why isn't this, why is the quality of this so, you do scrutinize it a bit more when you feel when you feel burnt by a company's like kind of failure to do something. When you're like, okay, I paid $10 for this, and this is what they give me.
Yeah. Or if it's free, you're kind of less inclined to.
Right. Yeah. You're just like, oh, this is great for free. This is amazing.
Look at this packing job. Who cares? I got it for free. Right. Speaking of which, I don't think I brought it up. The way my 6mm things were packed, right? Atrocious. Atrocious.
Right. And we mentioned that company, remember, because that's the company, the British company that partnered with My Mini Factory, right?
Right.
So they were really, I mean, their quality, QA stuff needs to be pretty strict because they're proving themselves to people. So that's so
great. Throwing 300 plus 6mm miniatures into a clamshell just loose and then in a bubble mailer doesn't cut it. I was pretty ticked off. So updated Saga, I contacted them, sent with pictures. Their site was a nightmare to navigate in terms of quality, but the response I got back was, yes, you're correct, that's unacceptable, we'll send you a replacement order. So they Only Games may have redeemed themselves with this replacement order they're sending me. It hasn't arrived. If it arrives in the same condition, I'll be like, no.
Right. And then so it took 2 orders to get 1 order of unbroken, completely well printed.
I would have a lot. I'll have a lot of extras, but like some of the other smaller companies I've dealt with who have sent 3D stuff include like the miscasts, or they can see they're like, oh, that one, like here's the extras to cover the stuff. And I was kind of disappointed that Only Games didn't do that for all of the parts of the order. Like some of them, like all the archers, I ordered like 72. I'm like, oh, I got like 84, right? But some of the other ones, I'm like, I ordered 36 knights and I got 36 and 3 of them have no lances and 2 of the horses are tripods. So
yeah, interesting. So yeah, that's I hope they can do better, because they are really important for people that don't want to get into the hobby of 3D printing. That's a really important.
Don't get 6mm stuff.
And you don't want to. I mean, your alternative is Etsy. Is like individuals doing that printing, because their reputation. They have to live off of that reputation.
But we'll see how that replacement order shows up.
Yes, yeah. So we'll let you know what that looks like, and and maybe it's be a good time to look back at that company and see how they're doing, because that was important. I mean, they were really saying we're bringing the virtual world, the digital world, physical with this 3D printing.
Just slightly damaged again.
Yeah. So speaking of losing your reputation, Critical Role quietly
had a reputation to lose. Sorry,
no, they didn't. They didn't. Well, I guess they think they do. They removed hundreds of videos from their YouTube channel featuring Brian Foster.
Okay.
So Brian Foster was a former host of Talk Machina, their talk show based on their actual play. It's getting out of control. But
it's been out of control
at the end of this, it's getting out of control. Like Beatles, Led Zeppelin level of out of control. Okay. And we'll talk about that at the end. But so Brian Foster was a member of the original group and had worked hosting various things. Hundreds of the videos featuring him are no longer included, and I'm a little suspicious of the reason. So nearly all the videos have been privated on the account, and this is based on leaked court documents. Revealed a pattern of verbal abuse and threats against a main cast member, Ashley Johnson.
Oh, okay. So I think I heard like the beginning of this, and then I realized, it's Critical Role. Okay, I'm listening. I don't particularly care, but okay.
During the pair's engagement.
Okay.
So this is if this was a divorce, it would make a lot of sense that there'd be some bad words, going back and forth. But it is a relationship, and obviously a relationship that fell apart. But and maybe she did restraining order, and maybe she felt threatened. There were terroristic threats and death threats. Who knows what happened? But it's pretty extreme. If he's not convicted of anything, it's court documents. So she's suing him? Is this a civil suit against harassment or something? And they're erring on the side of caution and just saying, okay, let's get this guy out of here, because we don't even want to know what the results of this case are going to be. And maybe they just threw their support 100% behind Ashley Johnson and said, she's here to stay. This guy, can go. But so I think that's a difficulty also dealing with, couples and marriages and, romance and things.
That's why I would never want to date someone at my workplace.
Right.
It's just like,
and I heard recently too that's why they don't let married couples work as astronauts together, because if anything goes wrong, it's like, me and her we're gonna survive. You guys, we don't really care about.
Makes sense.
They don't want people choosing sides like that. It's not just people trying to have zero gravity sex. It's actually they worry about the morale.
Wild tangent here, but we've all seen that meme where it's like, NASA considers sending only female crew to avoid zero G section. You're like, You haven't thought this through very well, have you? Right? But I see the married couple thing, right? Like, It's just a relationship in a workplace. There's just all kinds of problems and messiness and stuff that can happen. I understand them going, you're in space. Stuff is dangerous, so no. Right? Let's just avoid that, right?
Right.
But I guess back to the thing on hand.
Yes.
No idea what the details are.
Right, yeah.
Don't particularly care.
Not going to read leaked court documents.
Nope. But like you said, I guess this is just Critical Role saying, they're a private company.
Yeah, you're right.
They can do whatever they want. They're just like, you know what?
And they're a profitable company.
Yep.
So
we're not going to deal with this. Like we maybe they feel this Brian Foster guy. They're just like, no, we don't want anything more to do with him. Gone. Or maybe they're just like, you know what? We're expecting a lot of backlash, so let's just preempt that by removing these, or them just saying, we don't want to deal with it, so we're removing these. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So
whatever it is, they can do whatever they want.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And so Foster hosted a series called Behind the Sheets as well, and did DMing on Undeadwood. So it sounded like they had a lot more creativity and like variation in the early days, and also ran one shots like Honey Heist when they were Geek and Sundry. Yeah, so those are still up on the Geek and Sundry YouTube channel.
I suppose because they don't own the Geek and Sundry thing, right?
Yes, right. Yeah, they could probably request that they take them down. So yeah, that's exactly what you said. Is exactly what I was thinking too. Is now the company has to worry about their reputation, and they would rather destroy an individual than their brand name. No, they're protecting a brand name. They would.
Sure. Absolutely.
Everybody's except for maybe Mercer. Everyone's neck is on the chopping block if it involves a loss in revenue for Critical Role.
Right. Sure. Like I was gonna say the point I was taking issue with was destroying this guy's reputation, right? Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, I would say destroying his reputation is going out there and saying blah, 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 right? We're just, now these are private now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I really don't like this era. I think we've gone from, revenge porn used to be a problem, and now it's revenge texts and revenge court documents and stuff. People are leaking stuff that is private and should not be shared. I mean, gossip, journalists and gossip magazines and stuff love that kind of stuff. But now it's just private people with vendettas and people in, bad breakups and stuff, that are involving. So I think that should be punishable just as much as leaking, old nudes of your ex-girlfriend, of leaking chats that have intimate details that are going to paint someone in a bad light, because it's not your job to do that. I mean, if it is involved in a court case, it's evidence, in a court case, that's one thing. If it's Exhibit A, that's fine. But you doing it to just wage a social media war against someone and totally defame someone they haven't figured that out yet.
Okay. Yeah. I see your point, and I'm not going to dig into this because, but okay, the details, like hypothetically, let's take it out, right? Like, I'm assuming we don't know who leaked these documents, right? If this was I could see what would happen. Like, okay, let's say these two people involved in like a wildly successful actual play have a falling out, right? Person A, if this person feels like unsafe, whatever, I no longer want to work with this person or the partner, I could see them approaching the organization with evidence that says,
right.
And here is why I no longer feel safe working with this person, whatever. It doesn't sound like that's what happened here because the word leaked was used. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where the leak came from or who did it, right? Whatever. But I see your point about potentially this could have been leaked maliciously to destroy this person's career. So yeah, okay, that part I agree with you on. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, so it's difficult, and each company has to deal with this stuff, and it's good that it is like court documents that are proving something, and it's not just people's. It's like one person's word against another. But yeah, so Critical Role, as they're more money, more problems. As they become more successful, things get more difficult. And another thing that they're kind of dealing with right now is the SAG-AFTRA strike.
Yep.
So many of the voice actors that are appearing on Critical Role are card-carrying SAG members as voice actors. So they have to decide, and so I think it's because they haven't really defined what actual play is, what streaming on the internet is, how well that works. Is it like the equivalent of a movie actor doing Broadway, or it's like, so it wouldn't be included in the strike? Who knows? But they're trying to figure that out. And so far, Critical Role has released a statement saying, "We fully support the strike and stand in solidarity with our fellow actors. Currently, our release schedule is not impacted by the strike, but we'll continue to evaluate and take necessary steps should it be impacted in the future." And also, Dimension 20, another big actual player, also said kind of the same thing. "I'm nothing but sympathetic to the union and outraged by the mafia-like behavior of major streamers." Ooh. And the AMPTP, I don't know what that is, but it's harder than ever to make a living in the industry, and that goes even for a few lucky of us who have been able to get work and meaningful projects. Because we aren't associated with the AMPTP, it's possible we may be able to reach an interim agreement with SAG and allow us to continue to produce content during the strike, but we'll only do that obviously, if we get the blessing of the union.
Right.
And so some people there are vouchers, like a lot of indie producers and things. If they have SAG, people have gotten like vouchers or passes basically to continue production during the strike. So some people have been allowed to do that. So basically the entertainment industry hasn't figured it out yet, but that's going to be another thing that someday Critical Role may have to deal with if they've got a bunch of SAG actors and there's
might be sooner than later.
Yeah,
because, like,
right.
okay, basically that Critical Role statement said, we've recorded enough content to last us a while.
Right, yes.
Right?
We're cool for
Yeah,
now.
we're cool for now, but hopefully,
Mm.
right, if the strike isn't resolved, when they run out of content, that's when they're going to have to decide what they're going to do.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see about that though. And so the other insane thing that for some reason didn't update in my notes is Critical Role this October is playing Wembley. So, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Critical Role, that's kind of like the same scale. So this is like a 12,000 seat capacity. I think this is the indoor arena. So this is their first, they're doing a Mighty Nine reunion thing in their first international kind of public event. I couldn't find it. Maybe in a month or so, the ticket prices will be out. I didn't go through any process to see pre-orders, so no ticket prices were posted. But I'm dying to find out how much it costs to watch an actual play at Wembley. But yeah, so Critical Role is big, as bigger. So if the Beatles were bigger than Jesus, then Critical Role is bigger than the Beatles.
All right.
So we're in trouble. I don't know what that means. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, a 12,500 seat facility. The Mighty Nine reunion, Echoes of Solstice, on October 25th in the UK. Damn. Oh, don't worry, we'll get there someday.
Yes, I'm crying because I can't go. Yes.
We'll be playing Monster Hearts at Wembley someday. I promise.
That'd be pretty cool. Like, no, I don't want to go to Wembley. I want to go to okay, I'm never going to play D&D again probably, but people do that, like D&D in the castle. I'm like, okay, that would be pretty cool. Going to do something like that. Cool. Right? I don't.
Or like steam tunnels underneath the university.
Okay, this is not fucking the Tom Hanks Mazes and Monsters thing, right? I don't want to get lost down there, whatever, right? I don't want to have a bad ABC TV movie made after us, all right? Anyway, no, sure.
Yeah.
People like Critical Role.
I guess so.
I
12,500 of them.
I guess so. I don't understand the appeal of watching an actual play live.
From very far away.
Yeah.
From a balcony.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so that's crazy. All right, but something old has been made new again. So Horror on the Orient Express is a very famous adventure for Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
So legendary campaign, very long campaign too. So Chaosium has I guess they're publishing this as well. They're working with another company, but producing a Horror on the Orient Express board game. So they're trying to recreate the kind of tabletop RPG experience in board game form. So originally produced in 1991, of course, based on the titular train of the 1920s, it's going to be a full co-op board game designed by the creators of Nemesis and Frostpunk. So they've done good adaptations of video games and their of course original games. So this might be interesting, and they're working close with Chaosium, it seems like. So this could be a very accurate representation without all that nasty role play.
Who wants to role play? Right?
Oh my God! So it's an epic length, over 100 hours, almost 20 scenarios. It was re-released in 2014. So it's been updated since, and it's very much known for its lethality. So they're even saying with the board game, you can expect 3/4 of the characters to perish. So it's a slog. It's a hard one. But I think that's kind of a Lovecraft thing. Most board games, you don't fare well. You tip into madness or
death.
But
that's my thing. But okay, it's this epic 100-hour long campaign, and people die all the time. Well, then how do the new people come on? Right? That's what I want to know.
Yes. But so they're going to be offering, what they're saying is a RPG-like experience. You can customize the character progression, improve skills, add new items and spells. You just don't have to do funny voices. So each session is between 90 minutes to 2 hours to play each of the scenarios. So it's the basic idea. And if you haven't played it before, you're kind of interacting with the passengers on the train. You're stopping cultists from performing a dark ritual, and you're killing. Yeah, you're on a horrible train that's going badly, and of course there's going to be custom dice. And it sounds interesting. The dice themselves, though, they're saying you're not rolling so many of the dice. You're basically using them for their interrogation mechanism. So the dice themselves represent the states of the passengers.
Okay.
So you're like using the sides of the dice to represent like what states certain people are in and making them, maybe vulnerable to certain things.
Okay.
So yeah, the passenger state of mind are tracked by dice as well. So yeah, gathering clues and stopping cultists. So it's said to be challenging.
On a train.
Yeah, on a train. Challenging and on a train. So, of course, there's going to be a Kickstarter for this because who knows how many people want it. The first half of next year. And then it's going to be expected release will be 2025.
Okay. Ooh.
So it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
The prototype is going to be demoed at this year's Gen Con if you want to see kind of where things are at right now before they work all the bugs out. And it's a sad... Finally, it's a sad day. The Grand Festival, all that's left, the streamers are laying in the muddy street.
This person sweeping up all the confetti from the street.
There's a guy with a push broom cursing all of these fantasy characters that messed up his day. So they ended up finishing with about $5 million of their $2 million goal. So they easily made their $2 million goal, which is a huge goal.
Yep.
And of course, remember, this is on Backerkit, so they keep a lot more of that. So they didn't come near the 9.5 million of the Avatar Legends board game. And the thing, I'm surprised though, because they were offering a huge amount of stuff. The buy-in for everything was like $500. So they offered miniatures for everything in the game, an updated version of Gloomhaven, an RPG for Gloomhaven, a miniature version of Gloomhaven, and a bunch of supporting things like for Frosthaven. They have, instead of like laying out all your tiles, they have like a spiral-bound book that basically every page is one of the scenarios.
Okay, cool.
And so instead of just to make the setup faster, and maybe if you're playing solo too, that's very easy. You're just turning pages, which is something that Jaws of the Lion, I guess, originally did, one of their like smaller board games, and so people liked that very much. So they implemented that in Frosthaven as well. So yeah, so it came to an end, and the thing I have to respect them for, I thought this was way too much, way too much in one campaign, and I think kind of overwhelmed people. And so then there were questions in the community posts about, what exactly is going on? Because the pledge manager is the different stages of this. Of course, tooling miniatures and casting them is going to take longer than printing books and things.
Right.
So there's certain a release schedule for the pledge manager for each thing, so that you're going to hit these certain goals, and so this will be ready then, this will be ready then, this will be ready then. But the thing I have to respect them for is there was no FOMO in this. They didn't have the exotic wood carved, available only here, no exclusive things. All of the stuff available in this campaign is going to retail. That may have hurt their total,
maybe, but
I think as the integrity of as a company, I think you have to respect them a lot more for not doing that, not going,
not the Kickstarter,
cheesing
the crowdfunding,
right, and just trying to milk people for everything. Right. And I think it's probably a smart business move, because you end up hurting yourself with all that additional production and shipping you have to do just to get that additional money. It's going probably out as fast as it's coming in. So they probably did the math and said, we're getting 8% more or 7% more of this money from Backerkit compared to Kickstarter. Right. Let's not mess with people. Let's just have an honest business transaction as much as you can have.
Those exclusive. I've never run a Kickstarter. I don't think I ever really want to, or a crowdfunding campaign. Those exclusives. What you just said made me think producing it and doing all that stuff. What chunk of your money does that take up? So either just don't do it, or it's got to be at the level where, the level of production where you're just like, we're still keeping enough of it.
Yes, yeah. And it has to raise the kind of urgency of customer support and stuff, because supporting people that have pledged on things that this is only going to be made once, it's not available again. It wasn't in my order, it wasn't in my box, so things that you're producing, they're going to be warehoused, they're going to distributors, they're available at retail. It's not so difficult to say, you didn't get this, okay, here's another one. It's a much easier process. So that was quite an undertaking, and I was expecting that to be multiple campaigns, and it just kind of like, here's everything. Bam.
Here's your mega campaign.
Yeah, so I'm very curious about the Buttons and Bugs, that miniaturized version, based on... So, did you know the origin of that? It was based on, there was a game designer that does adaptions of board games that you can hold in one hand of cards.
Not aware of that.
Yeah, he did a print and play game that won some awards called Gloomholden.
Okay, that's pretty funny. I
You're
like it.
basically playing Gloomhaven, and you're like holding your thumb in places to mark status of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and you're turning cards. It's like remarkably clever and very economic design, like very simplified and amazing. But recreated it, and so they worked with that game designer and also a game designer that worked on Mountains of Madness and things to do, or some Lovecraftian thing, but to do a version for them. And the gimmick was that your character in Gloomhaven is miniaturized. So so it's a small game, and you're fighting bugs and that's why it's called Buttons and Bugs. So I think they're trying to make it kind of it's a pretty accurate miniature version of the game, and it's made cute. So maybe they're trying to something you can play with kids, something that's not as like kind of huge and sprawling.
Right.
Because it has a friendlier tone, whereas the original Gloomholden was just the same setting.
I got feelings on that. If that's what it is, right?
Miniature, but you're tiny.
Oh,
You're
they're
little.
so cute and little, and look
But
at the baddies.
there
They're
are
so
miniatures,
cute,
though.
and we're still ripping their guts out with our little needle swords and
So
blocking
cute.
stuff with buttons,
But you
right?
can control their minds and make them kill themselves. But there are like literally little miniatures in. Yeah. So they did some interesting stuff. There's nice surprises in the campaign, and it was a huge streaming like barrage. They had almost every day there was content being released, live streams, discussions, actual plays. So they really this was pretty impressive, and I wish they would have gotten a huger financial result for all of that work that they did, because it really set like this is a bar that I don't think any other publishers are going to be able to meet.
Well,
as far as,
hopefully
like,
they calculated it
Yes.
correctly, and hopefully the $2 million? No, the $5 million they got is enough to
and it's not right. And then following this, all this stuff is going to retail, so then all that it's not like they produce stuff and that this is the only time it's ever going to be sold. So that's they were just producing this to go to retail. So so we'll see what all this looks like when it arrives. But Grand Festival has ended. So I'm curious if this is going to change certain other publishers' approaches, because there are big companies like like Stonemaier Games and stuff that have huge catalogs and may want to support stuff, support their larger, more popular games with something crazy like this. But this was quite a grand festival. I can't believe they actually pulled it off, and we'll see if people get their stuff. But so the pledge manager is has some dates on it. So it's Backerkit, so September 2023, January 2024, June 24, and November 24 are kind of the dates that they're going to hit for things. So you're going to have to wait for some stuff, but of course all of this isn't produced in the same way.
Right.
But so we'll see how that. But for international customers, I think crowdfunding campaigns like this are probably a better situation, because even though you're not getting a retail online retailer deal, the shipping and everything is much better. So it's probably the best way to get the second edition of Gloomhaven if you live in an out-of-the-way place that doesn't...
As we do.
Yes, as we do. All right. So that's going to do it for this week.
Yeah, cool.
So where can people find you?
On Twitter, until that site shuts up and dies. I'm also on Instagram, and reluctantly on Threads, and Blue Sky, right?
and Pillow Fort, and Mastodon.
Pillow Fort. I'm not on Mastodon. I refuse to fucking toot, right? Like, skeeting on Blue Sky is... That's it, right? No toots. That's just ridiculous, right? Anyway, so it's all Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where basically the only thing I'm posting now is pictures of 6mm very tiny miniatures.
Very close,
Yeah, that's there. Hard to take it. Harder to take a picture of than regular things, because I'm like,
you need one of those like
focus.
Those macro lenses you can like stick to the.
But then the macro lens just shows all the mistakes with the miniatures, right?
Right.
Like, these are tiny. You're supposed to be looking at them and they look awesome back here.
Right.
Like,
that's true. Oh yeah, there definitely is an art to that. Yeah, because you don't want to. His sword, it just kind of like painted into the side of it.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's Hivemind. So how about you?
So Abuse Cartoons. So I'm still doing. If I don't have heat stroke, I still do the single panel gag cartoon drawing. So I draw 2 cartoons a week, eat some convenience store snacks, and talk Japanese culture shock. And so that's Abuse Cartoons on both YouTube and Twitch, and abusecartoons.com. If you want to read the cartoon, gocomics.com/domestic abuse.
For a 20-year archive.
And this is 20 years. Yeah, it's a 20-year archive. So thousands of single-panel gag cartoons. So they go through various phases. I'm going through the archives in the stream, and I think I found a phase where my tablet broke, and I'm drawing with a mouse because I'm drawing just boxes. So I'm like shift clicking, and like everything is really straight. So I think I had a phase where I had to produce cartoons and didn't have a working tablet to do it. That's the risk, though, of going digital. My Sharpies never disappointed me, but sometimes my tablet's like, cannot find driver.
Not going to do it. Why not? I don't want to. Right?
Yes. And if you'd like to support what we're doing on the weekly for the 201st episode, you can begin. Oh yeah, a few audio. So happy 200. Oh, that's got to be terrible on the ears. Sorry if you're wearing headphones. That's got to be the worst. Oof. All right, so happy 200.
All right, a bunch of those, and they're not so great smelling.
No, they're pretty funky, but they're okay. Anyhow, well, at least I don't have to clean up confetti and streamers. Yeah, save myself. Just the smell.
You would be the sad person to push me.
Right? It's like the end of the Grand Festival. So if you'd like to support what we're doing on the weekly, consider becoming a weekling.
Yes, the strongest of all supporters. So but you'll always be a beta weekling.
Yes, right. Yes, you'll always be a beta because Siglo is your master. Siglo is your alpha. So thank you so much for supporting us, everybody on Patreon, and that's patreon.com/upturntable. You can also become a member on YouTube, like K5, who is approaching 2 years of being a member. Just that join button under this live stream. And if you're listening to this, as an audio podcast,
we apologize for the cracker noises.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry for your eardrums. I'll normalize that down so it's not going to kill you. And you can listen to the entire audio of the live stream on the Patreon RSS feed. Yeah. So that's upturntable.com. And so on all social media as well. Yeah. So thank you for joining us, and we'll be back again next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye. All right. Oh, don't touch that. All right. So, yeah, if I was thinking ahead, I would have had Jackson come on for the 200th episode and done a live set or something acoustic. That would have been a nightmare for me to mic, but yeah, that would have been great. So yeah, happy 200th. So yeah, and thanks so much to Chris for making that possible, and also for Matt for filling in. That's so great. I've been, messaging Matt very last minute and saying, "Are you available? Do you want to talk to me on the weekly?" Because yeah, some of the it just feels like too much of a monologue. Very often, I'm just running through a list of topics without a co-host. So I appreciate that. So Matt, thanks so much. And yeah, and this basically the idea came about from just when Chris's office moved near my office, we would just have lunch like once a week and just have fun conversations, talk about tabletop stuff, whatever. And it's like, wow, this would be a fun thing to do as a podcast, because the Idle Red Hand started to get more irregular in the releases of everything, because we would do these like 2-hour podcast episodes that took forever to edit, so they couldn't be weekly, because it was like at least minimum 8 hours of editing, trying to fit in, while working full time. So there was just no way to make that a weekly podcast anymore. And there wasn't any young unmarried people without kids working on the podcast anymore. I think that's what happens, is everyone's got all kinds of time when they're students or single, then you're married with kids and it all disappears. Uh-oh. Oh, Matt's saying the chat froze. Yeah, it's looking a little bit funny recently. I hope it was okay. All right. So yeah, Critical Role at Wembley. Freddie Mercury is rolling over. Yeah, I think I'd rather see Queen than Critical Role. Oh man. Yeah, there we go. We'll fill an 80,000 seat arena for our next actual play. Oh, Matt was saying the Critical Role, that new horror show with their original system. It's kind of boring. Yeah, bet they don't renew it. Interesting. Yeah, and I guess they've got the freedom to kind of try stuff out, so we'll see. Yeah, I apologize if the chat died or lagged. Restream is not doing very well. It seems like yeah, things are weird. Yeah, things are not working well. So yeah, apologies for the technical nonsense. Yeah, so lots of noise. So I'll definitely I won't. Your ears won't shatter. I'll I'll cut the audio on all that popping that we did on the microphones. It was even loud on these headphones, so I don't want to kill somebody with their earbuds in. Crazy. Oh yeah, Matt's looking forward to the horror on the Orient Express. Yeah, if they do a nice job, because the production values for Nemesis and Frostpunk are really good. So yeah, they should be able to do a nice version. Yes, so 200 episodes, insane. So hopefully the chat is still. Let me know if you guys are still there. If it totally died. What a fitting. Oh, I can move the logo over. What a fitting. Fitting 200. The chat is completely frozen. Nice. Oh, yes, very insightful. Let me see. Oh, the Critical Role stuff. Yeah. Let me get it. What? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I think that was a YouTube thing. Yeah, YouTube looks like it killed all the chat. It looks like it's still there in the combined chat. So, you're talking about Critical Role. Yes, Abyss. We needed Abyss here. Yeah, Abyss has popped in a few times to the premieres for the audiobook chapters. So we're still doing Frenzy. Got about six or seven chapters left. And Miguel's saying the stupid FTC violations. Yeah, it's just they're never gonna be able to completely keep a handle on it. So then anybody that's violating or kind of breaking the rules is probably going to be more successful. So yeah, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, sorry. So the looks like YouTube kind of messed up. Yeah, have they even gone to court yet? Yeah, I wonder what the situation is. Yeah, so Chris is saying it's a private company, and but what's deplorable is the critters. Yes, yeah, and that could be. I mean, it could be have been a critter that released that. The court details, the court papers. Miguel said the fans showing the same manner that a bunch of starved gremlins in their haste to defend their idols. Yeah, yeah, and that's if this is a relationship, because I originally, when I was going through that, I originally thought it was like a divorce or a failed marriage or some kind of separation or breakup, and that is like that should be off limits. That shouldn't be something that affects your job or your social status or whatever. That's a private situation that people go through, and it's ugly. It's always ugly. People are going to say. They're going to threaten each other. They're going to say bad things. You're going to expect verbal abuse during a divorce. So this wasn't a divorce. It was a failed engagement, but there probably would have eventually been a divorce had it become an actual marriage. But yeah, that's pretty brutal. Yeah, we don't know what really happened. So just the leaks, and for all we know, the abusive behavior could have been having another woman in their common bed. Ashley was supposed to be away. Right. Yeah, you never know exactly what caused the rift and who's to blame and whatever. But yeah, it's always that now with social media, the court of social media opinion, deciding who they're going to support. Yes. So Matt said I had to pull a play I wrote from a local company because the lead was accused of rape by an ex-girlfriend on Twitter, and I asked the company to do a formal investigation. They refused. Wow. So yeah, you can just, and you hear this from police officers, people involved in investigation. It's not. I mean, you don't want to victim blame and just accuse everyone, like giving them the burden of proof for sexual assault and things. But people do make up stories, and women do. That's a very handy thing for women to say when they're caught cheating or whatever. The first thing they're going to say is, "I didn't mean." I've had experiences like that with women saying that, "Oh yeah, no, it was forced on me." Oh, but we're dating now. It's like, wait, what? Wait, exactly. Okay, so yeah, it's a thing to kind of defend if they're not comfortable about their behavior or intentions. It's a really good thing to say, oh yeah, of course I didn't consent, because that would make me a bad person. That sucks. Yeah, no investigation. Yeah, so they just banned the actor with no investigation, and he had to pull the play. That really sucks when that kind of stuff, and in any way, not just assault or abuse or whatever, but any sort of way that people just go with a social media accusation, because we know you can, and there are very unstable people that just enjoy disruption and things. So of course, in a situation where they see someone as vulnerable, or they know an accusation is going to threaten that person's job. I mean, if you're threatening someone's livelihood, and maybe like in the case of the your play, Matt, it was more like a community theater situation. But if it's definitely threatening a paycheck that someone's doing, then there's financial damages. So doing that kind of stuff should have consequences when people are just throwing wild accusations out there. And sometimes it's hard to measure that. But if you can say, I lost this opportunity, I lost this because of this thing you said, which was not true. So if there's not police reports, there's not court documents, you really shouldn't. But companies can do what they want. Yeah, private companies can do, or schools, or universities, whatever, can do what they want. Yeah, that's crazy. So critical, yeah, right. Critical Role at Wembley. Yes. Yeah, it's really crazy. Oh, hey, Abyss. Good to see you. Oh, nice. Yeah. And that's right. So on the channel, Matt did an unboxing of the Magenta Moldvay basic set for D&D and for basic D&D. Yeah, and really good job. It was I loved, because I just went through and cut like anything that peaked, like when you're unboxing things, and any noises that peaked, I just kind of trimmed a little bit of the audio. So that it if you're just listening to it, it wasn't too percussive. And But it was so fun to listen to, Matt. I really enjoyed that unboxing. It's so nice when I don't have to think of things to say opening stuff up. But yeah, it was really fun to listen to your commentary and memories and stuff, the nostalgia that was that Gateway to Adventure flyer, that their little advertising catalog was so fun to look at. It was so fun to see, and it's great that was included in there along with that the membership to the RPGA. But yeah, that kind of stuff is great, super nostalgic, and those cruddy dice that we all dealt with. That's funny. But yeah, really good. Yeah, really good job, Matt. That was very good. Yeah, good to see you, Abyss. Nice. Oh no, Abyss got shadow banned. No. Oh, not spicy YouTubers. Weird. Yeah, who knows how that works. Oh, correction, Jeremy says, Miguel, in criminal matters, is on the accuser always. Well, yeah. That's right. That's right. So yeah, I was just trying to say, because we've had, after the Me Too movement and everything, it's yeah, the believe all victims thing is standard. But yeah, you're right, Miguel. Legally, the burden is on the accuser. Yeah, good point, Miguel. Victim blaming is totally different. So putting the game assets into alchemy, that's right. So tomorrow, no, oh no. So yeah, it could be a rough one for us. That's right. Yeah, we've got some rough times ahead. But I have a shiny new helmet. Oh, and a trident. Nice. So I'm a Corv. I'm an anthropomorphic crow with a magical trident, so we'll see how that goes. I may have to hand it off to the more competent fighters, but at least we'll have some sort of small advantage. Yeah, looking forward to it, Matt. Yeah, so yeah, we'll talk about it when we're actually there, but we may live stream it, may not. Yeah, depending on how it works. I think Alchemy will work pretty much the same way as Foundry did for streaming, because we can put the Discord audio in there. But it's up to you, Matt, if it makes it more frustrating or more stressful to run the game. Just let me know. But yeah, so some Knave tomorrow. Very cool. Yeah, thanks for putting that together, Matt. You didn't have a heck of a lot of time, so appreciate that. Yeah, must have had some sort of hiccup. I'm looking at the the total streaming time, and it's wrong. So I wonder if there were connection issues. Crazy. Yeah, I wish there was more data about the live stream. Both of the software and the platform don't give you too much information. Yeah, no dropped frames, according drop frames from here. I don't know if that, once they get to the different platforms, what that's going to mean. Yeah, very strange. Oh, Abyss is asking. So in Japan, it's it's 2:11. Yeah, it's 10 after 2 p.m. In the 2 in the afternoon here. So yeah, it'll be around a little earlier. So we'll probably start at noon Japan time tomorrow. So a couple hours earlier. So it's 8 p.m. West Coast time in the U.S. I don't know what Greenwich Mean Time is then. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I don't know what that is in Europe. Like 8 hours. If it's an 8-hour difference, then is it noon? Oh, it's early. Yeah, earlier. Yeah, would it be noon? I don't know. Yeah, but Friday. Sometime on Friday, wherever you are. Saturday for me. All right. Well, very cool. Yes. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll watch the growing pains of Critical Role. And I'm curious, too, if they, because these success stories, you don't know what the management, what the, companies making these deals, like that, they're performing an actual play at Wembley, but what kind of deal did they actually make? What kind of money they're actually making on it? It'll be interesting to see, maybe, in hindsight, how well they managed their business and how well Critical ran as a company, or if they were just like taken advantage of by, oh, this is a new hot thing and it has a lot of eyeballs on it, so maybe we'll take advantage of this popularity. Because that's happening with a lot of like social media stars and people popular on TikTok or Twitter or whatever. They're getting professional gigs, but they're probably being, the contracts and stuff they're signing are probably, they're being taken for a ride because I'm sure they don't have representation, so they're going in on these really bad contracts and getting screwed over, pretty miserably. So who knows? I was watching a couple of different like music documentary things on YouTube, and that's like early days, or like the Creedence Clearwater Revival thing. Like that is insane. That band lasted only for 5 years and all the money was stolen for like five albums. So they made almost nothing for being one of the most successful bands in like the late 60s, early 70s. That's crazy. So we'll see how they handled themselves business wise. And if it wasn't, they're just enjoying their popularity and their celebrity, or if they're actually running this as a business and making some money. And then, of course, then they're going to be a target, for lawsuits and people trying to get a piece of all that. So funny. Yeah, I can't. That seems surreal. Like if early, D&D playing me, version of me, was someday there's gonna be people are gonna be playing Dungeons and Dragons at Wembley Arena. Wow, okay, that's insane. And it might be a reach, it might be too much of a reach. We'll find out if it's if it was never supposed to happen. Maybe the earth will split open and swallow them up. Yeah, who knows. Yeah, noonish. Yeah, Matt's estimate for our actual play tomorrow. Speaking of D&D, they had the nerve to remake Planescape. So Wizards is doing that with 5e? Oh, wow. I guess, it's always 5e now. There is no other version or edition. So Miguel's saying, on the one hand, I wish them luck, but seeing the type of people that overfan on Critical Role, I wouldn't mind them crashing and burning. Yeah, that's the problem too, is like interest, because I think I think it's funny. I think it's, some clever writing for Rick and Morty, but I wouldn't want to ever associate myself with Rick and Morty fans because, the fandoms, I think that's the problem, is like people have decided that there's some kind of, it's like a cultish weird behavior. It's like, oh, you are a fan of this, that says something about you, where people just used to enjoy media and entertainment. Now they enter a fandom. Like you hear that so much on the internet, people talking about, well, when I joined the fandom, it's like, what did you have to, was there some blood ritual? Was there some, where you jumped in? Did you have to get pummeled by some existing members? Like how exactly did you enter this fandom? But people talk like that in really weird ways, and you see that like like the bronies and stuff, like people that their identity is so like deeply connected to weird stuff. And I think that's the big Chris criticizes that a lot, that people's over connection to certain brands or certain companies. It's very, very brutal. Oh wow, of course they butchered 80% of it. I can't even imagine what a sanitized, safe Wizards of the Coast sensitivity red Planescape will look like. They don't even understand Abyss is saying, almost certain they don't understand the philosophical concept is, and the Lady of Blades point of existing is, and so going to assume they are giving her actual stats to fight her. Yes. Right. Well, and there also will be a WizKids pre-painted miniature of the Lady of Blades. They definitely have lost. I mean, they're just, they own these. When they bought, TSR, they acquired all of these, to a certain audience, a valuable IP. So they're just trying to benefit from owning all this stuff that was produced by, underpaid game designers and artists. So, Yeah, it's gonna be ugly. The same way Disney is just like milking all the IPs they acquired with Fox and Lucasfilm and stuff. They don't care what the product is like, because you'll put your money down. Because I think that's the problem, is they know there's a certain number of people that are going to put their money down on a brand name. If you call anything Star Wars, somebody will pay for it because they love things Star Wars. I'm part of the fandom, so I must make the purchase. Yeah, very very strange. Let me double check the. Okay, cool. Yeah, the chat seems to kind of still be working, but yeah, interesting to see what happens and what will happen to Critical Role's popularity. Like this may be it. Like we may be, what is that? The apex. This may be the high point of their. High point of their popularity, because if they move away from D&D and don't have the same kind of support, they're just going to take their popularity and the revenue that they've generated and use their own system, like once their own fantasy system is released. And I mean, this is a real make or break kind of situation for them, because once they move away from Wizards, the popular game, I wonder if their ability to get new fans, and if people feel like they outgrow them, if it was just a phase. When I was in high school, I loved Critical Role. It'll be interesting to see if what they lose after this, because that's quite a height. I mean, to be performing internationally in that kind of arena and expecting to sell any kind of tickets. I guess there'll be a lot of people traveling, and of course the internet popularity means you have no idea. Yeah, there's people all over the world. So if you say, come to London, and you can get people from all over the place. Yeah. So, but that, it'll be interesting to see with the weird changes that are happening with D&D, and if they're moving away from that, if that popularity. Yeah, we'll see whose popularity is better, whose fandom is stronger, D&D or Critical Role. Yeah, but that horror fake faux blades in the dark system they're playing is nothing too fun. Yeah, so I'm curious. I still really want to see the rules, at least for the Gloomhaven RPG. Still curious about that, but it didn't, from the actual plays, it didn't play. I don't think I'm going to be able to get many players to go along with it. Just the way that it switched between, using a deck to role play and then playing a board game when there's combat. I don't know. That seemed to switch pretty hard. That's quite a hard turn. So who knows? But you got to respect the fact that. Cephalofair didn't go all in on the exclusive, Backerkit exclusive, campaign exclusive, that they just, basically used this to get a head start. They wanted to do a huge production, a new version of their game, support materials, and a huge miniatures, huge investment in miniatures for the entire game world. And they just used the crowdfunding to jumpstart that instead of, having to do that all themselves. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, and Gloomhaven was born on the internet, born on crowdfunding. So why the heck not? Yes. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate having everyone here. Everyone that's in the chat, everyone that's lurking, everyone, thank you for being here. Most of those 200 times that we've done this. I'm sure you can see, listen to them all in the archive. Yeah, so all the way back to the first weekly. I think there's a weekly playlist on the YouTube channel. There's not organization in Twitch, and actually the last few weeklies have not made it to the Twitch archive. I don't know what's going on. I renewed the stream key to hopefully fix that problem, but Twitch doesn't seem to be liking our VOD settings or whatever anymore. But Oh, Abyss is saying, hey, the problem is that these corporations and people working at these places have lost the damn plot and cater to such a small group of players to appease the cultural shift, but chase off the core. Yeah, that's a good point, Abyss. I think, yeah, it's a really weird, it seems like, especially corporate America, maybe Europe as well, maybe, European companies, they're trying to like head off this, what they're seeing as this demographic shift away from Western European based economy into this like more diverse economy, but they don't know what this market is. They don't know how to kind of serve these, what they're seeing as these new customers or this new demographic. So it's bizarre, but it seems like they're trying to head off so that they're not trying to milk this like disappearing population. Yeah, it's very strange. So yeah, there's no middle ground, and trying to reason with the core base instead. They say good riddance. Yeah. So my beef, says Miguel, my beef with the new type of fan is that they are children that that the people have shunned me when I was in college playing my games. Yeah, exactly. That's that's a funny thing. Yeah, the people are like, what is this Dungeons and Dragons? What's wrong with you, loser? And they're like, oh, we're really big Critical Role fans now. Yeah, that's so funny. Miguel saying, and like how they're going to take my games away now that the corps have seen that there is money there. Yeah, money to be made catering to the new fans. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. It's kind of like the weird overreaction studios have, and like video game companies and stuff have to these aggregator sites for reviews and things online. They live and die by these numbers, and I don't think they really understand what some of that data means. They're misinterpreting kind of the data they're getting from the internet and making decisions based on just nonsense. So yeah, very strange. Well, hey, we got one more, so I'll break your eardrums one more time. So if you're on headphones, close your ears. Happy 200. Okay, thank you guys for joining me. And hey, Adrian Carolina, thank you so much. Sorry if that hit you right in the eardrums. Very cool. And I need to get back to you. Thank you for listening to the audiobook, especially the In Lunacy, the original one we did last Christmas. I'll get back to you with the name of that music track. It's licensed music that I get from a subscription service, so I don't know the name of the track. But yeah, I've been using that for all the fiction updates, that music track, and you asked about the name of it. But thanks so much for listening, and thanks for dropping by just as we were heading off on our 200th episode. So I guess we'll get a 1 for next week. I'll just get a piece of paper that has we'll tape it over the 200. All right, and you can see the air conditioning is moving the numbers as well. All right, so thanks for joining me, and thank you for 200. You guys made this possible. Your support, your activity in the chat, your support on Patreon, in memberships, really makes this all possible, and got us some new XLR cables. So next week you'll see some more colorful cables that don't crackle every time we touch our microphones. So yeah, thank you for all of your support. It goes right back into what we're doing. So we're investing in new equipment and fixing all of our problems. I just wish we could fix YouTube and Twitch. But anyhow, thanks for joining me, and see you again next week. Goodbye.